Hello there, Qckslvrslash here with a second World of Tanks video today. The first game was pretty short and I had another one that I was pretty proud of, so I thought, hey, I'll throw a bonus one up. So here I'm driving my tier 10 German heavy tank, the E100, along with Flying Goomba, who is driving in his Jagdpanzer E100, also known as the Jägeru. We're playing on Sacred Valley in a standard battle, and right away we're going to do what heavy tanks do and go to that northwestern corner, angle up, and try to put the damage in. So you'll notice something else with my E100 is I do not have the top gun. I only recently got this tank. My crew isn't even at 100% in it yet. I left the good crew behind in my E75 and I have no idea what that IS-7 is doing. Probably hit autopilot, jammed R and walked away for a bit. But that isn't going to hurt us, as we have a lot of pretty heavy tanks heading straight for this corner. So one thing about this smaller gun, its rate of fire is a little better. Its accuracy is a little better, but it doesn't have quite the same penetration or damage. But you can still do a lot of work with it, and it has that advantage slash disadvantage in that it uses APCR. APCR has better normalization, because heat has none, but the heat round has a little better penetration, so it kind of comes down to what you're shooting at. If you only really have shots at the tracks of a vehicle, I would much rather have the APCR than the heat, but if you're shooting at the big flat side of a mouse or the front of another E100 turret, the heat's probably the better ammo to have. So I stopped and aimed in there, hoping this M46 KR would pull a little further forward. He didn't, and I'm already kind of getting the heebie-jeebies. Something is not right here. We're getting pushed. So I tell Goomba, like, we need to back up a little further, consolidate. So you see him pulling down into that little dip off on my left, and I get back so that I can't be attacked from two sides. If I pushed up to where the IS-7 was, we would be getting flanked even just from this short position here. By sitting further back, I prevent this IS-7 from having the opportunity to try to come around behind him, and really any tank for that matter. IS-7 comes out, and I put a meaty 500 damage into him. And I'm basically just jockeying, and I'm going to wait for the next shot at him. There's no need to get in a rush. The game is still fresh. We've got a tank advantage already. Getting aggressive in this situation would be a very poor decision. And something I didn't know right here is this kill I'm about to get completed my Chinese expert. I finally killed the entire Chinese tech tree with the kill of that 113. So with the corner starting to cave and Goomba pushing up behind that IS-7, I move in from the other side to try to pinch off any effort they have. But I'm not really interested in trying to chase the 30B, so I turn and I'm going to push through that Rim B and hopefully towards their cap right now. And just look at the work this Rim B does on this Jagdtiger. That Rim B has been on 30 health for quite some time, and the Jagdtiger basically threw half his tank away just aimlessly driving towards him. Those are things you cannot afford to do at this tier of gameplay. It may be acceptable at lower tiers while you're learning, but when you get to tier 9 and tier 10, you have to make your games count. Little short-sighted decisions that, you know, I'm a bigger tier, I'm just going to drive at them. They're not going to help your team win. And you can see, despite having an early 4-2 win, we're now we're only up by one tank, sorry. We're not down yet, but we soon will be. So with this T-28 Prot showing me a side, I take time to aim, and I put a shot in him. I have no intentions to staying still. I had my turret angled back at him, he bounced off of it, and I'm pushing back to cap because I see this AMX 1390 and E100 have taken the temple and they're going for the base. There's nothing stopping them anymore. I jockey a bit trying to get one more shot at that T28 prot, but there's no need. He gets finished off by our GW E100 and I continue back towards the base. I get a little hung up on a rock, but here's a good thing to point out. When you're returning to your base and going back to defend, you really have to try to use the solid structures around you, so rocks and hillsides, to try to give yourself an advantage and prevent too many things from having a shot at you at once. So I took a shell from the FV-3805. He tracked me. Luckily he didn't do too much damage and I get back on the way. And I'm going to try to keep this hill on my left here between me and that E100 and use it to dictate the engagement. You can see our GW E100 just put a big shell into him. He's focused in on the arty, giving me that flat side of his turret. I take the time to aim, put the shot in, and I pull back to try to keep objects between me and him. He still seems pretty focused on other things. I don't know where his turret's looking. Looks like he was more interested in putting a finishing shot into our SU-101 rather than shooting me, which I don't get. Probably didn't have heat loaded, and I don't think he could see my lower plate, so, you know, in a way I guess he went for the sure shot. And you see our GW E100 finishing him off. So while I've been busy defending our base, Goomba pushed on against that 1390 and STB-1, putting pressure on them, and I'm just trying to tell him to hold on right now. He's got a super heavy spall liner, but the arty is just pecking away at him. You can see him on 40% hit points. And the STB-1 is doing the smart thing here. He's poking out to spot every time his arty are ready. They take the shots. He's not exposing himself to that massive gun of the Yagaroo. And I really don't know right now if I'm going to be able to save him. You can see the STB is just behind the bridge and rocks on the far side of the castle or temple or whatever you want to refer to this area. And I'm not in a fast tank. I'm only doing 11 kilometers uphill here. And Goomba's health is fading. He's down to 2% of his hit points. Only 36 of them remaining. But he's keeping that STB-1 occupied, which is going to be a big part of the outcome of this. He gets finished off, but I'm at the top of the hill. I'm starting to come up in speed. And I am ready for when the STB-1 reveals himself, getting sweet revenge for my fallen platoon mate. And at this point it's 2-on-2. Their 2 arty versus me and our GW E100. And with the hit points I have, I can afford to take a couple hits unless they get lucky. So I'm already having Goomba communicate, because we were on voice, I was having him type into chat that my plan is to go for their cap, to force the issue. If someone's near their cap and fires at me, I want our GW E100 ready to return fire, and I will engage as well. And I feel in this situation that's the best thing. I have no idea. The odds that the Lorraine is still up here are pretty low, and that British artillery piece has not been spotted yet. And I'll tell you, it's a long, slow drive when you're driving towards an enemy capture point against a couple of artillery. They always have better concealment than you. They're sitting in a bush, ready to shotgun you. And I'm just waiting for the ugly hit in my side. Ready on that 4 button to hit repairs and get myself moving so I'm not a sitting duck for the second arty. But as I get close to cap, just a moment ago, you can see their Lorraine was spotted over near our cap. So maybe they were thinking the same thing. They've got to push the issue on us. Their FV fires, he misses taking a snapshot. I do the same. And right now, I'm getting forward because there's this little hill here. And it may block me from him, but it also breaks line of sight. He's not going to know exactly where I am. And once I'm loaded, I can creep forward, get a line of sight on him, put the kill shot in, and I'm going to be happy to sit and cap this one out. The Lorraine fires and misses. And now it's just a waiting game. I'm carefully backing up. I don't want to hit anything. I just clipped that fence, potentially giving my position away. But I'm trying to put as much of this solid cover between me and the avenues of approach to just break line of sight so I can't be spotted as easy. And I tell our E100 straight, or GW E100 straight up, I want to cap. Like, don't force the issue. Don't try to go kill him because I've got a heavy tank mission that requires me to do 2,000 damage and complete a successful capture. And I had no idea that I would be doing it in a tier 10 vehicle. But the game handed itself to me and I was very happy with the result. And you can see there in chat, I'm just saying, like, I really want this. I had a game the other day where I was 1 point away. I was begging my team to please just let me cap. I need it for a mission. And they're like, nope. They found the arty piece and put the shell in. So he was pretty gracious to allow me to cap out and win this game. And here we are with the post-battle results. Second class mastery. I finally got Expert China for killing that 113. Fire for Effect, and Invader. And more importantly, I got one of my heavy tank missions done, and a couple of the current missions, including Heavy Metal Invader for those August tickets. See, topped the team, only 921 experience, did 4,100 damage, and walked away with actually a healthy number of credits, 41,000 all said and told. Because I didn't use any premium rounds. And the gun I'm using, I believe the rounds are a little cheaper than the top gun on the E100. And with win of the day and everything, 3,000 experience, slowly getting that crew trained up. I wish I had a better one for it, but I left my really good crew in my E75 because that's a tank I absolutely love. And I don't really feel I have anything I can train this crew in because, say, for example, the VK4503, it doesn't have 2 loaders. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the replay, and I'll have more for you tomorrow.